music lovers, welcome to my channel. And I grew up watching a lot of Don Bluth movies. It's a real shame with someone that has so much talent who's able to do movies like The Land Before Time and American Tail are also unfortunately responsible for Pebble and Penguin and today's show, A Troll in Central Park. It's considered to be one of Don Bluth's biggest fails, even by Don Bluth himself, and today we're gonna look at it. We open on Trollland with our main character, and I really wish I wasn't saying this, Stanley. This nuisance of annoyance comes from Troll World, a dark, gritty living area, but he's a kind soul that has a delicate piece for flowers, even has his own garden, and you will get annoyed with him rather quickly. You see, Stanley has a green thumb. No, I'm not kidding, a legitimate green thumb that he uses to create flowers.
No, Violet, what this garden needs is a big rosy posy right there.
I think there's one too many posies. If you were going to give your main character a power, prestidigitation probably should not be on that list. And look at for what reason. He grows a giant red posy, and it drags the attention of the local guards as they go to investigate exactly who caused this absolutely heinous crime. Ooh, maybe they'll skin him.
And for your crime, you are going before the #1 flower hater in the land.
Oh,
Gnorga.
So they take him to Gnorga, the queen of the trolls. Thank you for the spell check. Appreciate it. As we open on her villain song. Man, Emma Stone seemed to have let herself really go in the last few years. As villain songs go, this one's not really fun, it's not truly catchy, and the lyrics aren't really all that inspired.
It feels delicious to be so vicious. I'm Gnorga, the queen of mean.
See, Gnorga has a magic thumb of her own, only instead of creating flowers, it turns whatever she touches with it into stone. Now that's a unique power. Too bad it's useless in the movie. I feel like I'm watching the Heffalump and Woozles episode of Winnie the Pooh as filtered through the black cauldron of the 80s. Typically the best song in the entire movie, and they botched it up. How? How, Don Bluth?
Stanley, because you have repeatedly
disobeyed.
we have no choice but to sentence you to
Stone.
Okay, when did Shaggy and Scooby start doing the script? I think enough people are stoned as it is. So the king suggests a more practical solution. To get rid of him from the dimension and make him somebody else's problem.
I know a place, rock and steel. Nothing grows. Nothing. Think of it for him. It will be worse than stone. It will be slow. It will be painful.
So Gnorga agrees to send Stanley to a place that she doesn't know where it is, and he's sent straight to New York City, all the way across the dimensions, and lands straight up in Central Park. Wait a minute, what? Central Park? Have you even seen the screenplay? Seriously, did anyone read the script? Well, anyway, he seems to like it at first, until he gets the traditional Don Bluth greeting.
Hello.
This will eventually lead into a 5-minute chase scene where he's almost eaten by a human, sent into water, drowning himself almost, and end up landing in a troll under the bridge, like the joke.
all I ever wanted was a little patch of green. There's my patch.
Aw, just like you, it's small and disappointing. Well, now I guess it's time to get the story started by getting a look at the family and the two locals who are eventually become friends and make the connection with Stanley. They're little kids, one name's Rosie, the other one's name is Gus. And out of all these characters, Gus is even more annoying than Stanley. Gus is an obnoxious little kid, and Rosie, although being a baby, is realistically the best character in the movie. The father has to go to a meeting, and Gus is upset because he doesn't get to take him to the park to drive his boat.
Later. It always has to be later. Why can't we ever do what I want to do? I want to do what I want to do.
I get he's just a kid, but he's also just a spoiled brat that doesn't understand the entire world doesn't revolve around his whims. So although I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass, it's not going to save him for what he does later. So Gus decides to say screw all that and take Rosie to Central Park by sneaking out. Maria, looking at a sign that says Privet Keep Out, decides to not even try. So we partake into some more filler. God, tell a story! And we see Stanley getting woken up for the day. By way of acorn? Alright, well, let's see what Rosie's doing.
Butterfly!
She does eventually meet Stanley, confusing him for her troll doll, and he runs away like the coward he is. Real quick, I gotta say, these trolls are hideous. I thought the troll dolls were ugly. No. Those are Adonises compared to how Stanley looks. You know, at times like this, I really wish I had like a sewing kit or a nail gun, just so I can pierce my eyes away. As we hit our first big dilemma of the movie, a bug is going after Rosie. Oh no! Well, they saw that with more pandering. It's a shame Don Bluth is one of my favorite animators, and he made this because it's weird and it only gets creepier. Wow. Okay, movie, I'm trying to be generous with you, but you need to understand the visual media of the language you are trying to show. Normally, characters who have this type of over-the-top reaction is to indicate an attraction. Are you seriously saying that the main character, voiced by Tom DeLuise, is attracted to a little toddler? Yikes! And no, folks, this is not the only time this happens. In fact, the whole scene is sprinkled with stuff like this. Listen.
Rosie, did you hear? Rosie. Oh, yes, I like that a lot. I like you a lot, too.
Alright, Stanley, I'm 30 seconds away from calling Chris Hansen. One more remark out of you and I will make that phone call.
It could be cozy for Rosie. Cozy for Rosie.
Help! Well, we get walked into the song Somewhere That's Absolutely Green. And I gotta tell you, I love the messaging of the movie, but the movie itself is terrible. There's only so much pandering I can sit through to get your music across. And the music, especially, isn't even all that good. You guys didn't do the villain song that well, and this is just, you know, sweetness for the sake of sweetness, and the overall messaging of it only gets worse as we continue, but more on that a little bit later. So Gus drops in to find Rosie, breaks his boat, and understandably is very upset about that. As she tries to explain what's going on and where she's been, she brings out Stanley, who's hiding in a pile of flowers. Gus is just as confused as the audience is, as he gives the same face I'm sure a lot of producers made when making this film. Gus ultimately decides to do the right thing and gets his sister away from the creepy-ass troll doll.
You're gonna take Rosie away from me?
You got it, spaceman.
Oh, no.
Funny, considering we never heard about him going from dimension or space, and Gus just made that assumption on his own. And while we fight and argue, Rosie seems to cry. This, for whatever reason, attracts Gnorga from all the way in the troll world.
It's a baby crying.
I don't know, I kind of feel like there's hundreds, hell, maybe even thousands of babies crying at this particular moment, but this particular one is the one I'm interested in. I guess the sentient flowers are all gonna work together to try to make her to stop crying. Okay, I'm down. How do you do that? With a flower power dance. Okay, stop. This is not how you tell a story. I need a script, a director, a producer, somebody to say, hey, maybe we should work on getting the plot going. Hooray, your little fucking dance work. Congratulations. You wasted a whole 2 minutes on something that added nothing to the story. The Queen is pissed because Stanley's found a pretty decent spot for himself and he's made a few friends. However, she adores Gus and decides to use him to finish Stanley off once and for all. And how do you do that? By looking ridiculous as humanly possible. And I guess she has the power of sorcery now, along with her black thumb, to get him to cry a sea of tears to drown them all. Yes, our first big threat of the entire movie is a 5-year-old having a temper tantrum. Just as it seems that he's gonna drown not only Stanley but his little sister along the way with it, Stanley comes up with a phenomenal idea. Yeah, okay, I will give credit that this is one of the good shots in the movie. They're few and far in between, so don't expect it. But now that I've gotten that out of the way, why Gus stop crying?
Hey, I'm not crying anymore. How's that happen?
I believe you believed in saving your sister so much. Your power was stronger than Gnorga's.
Come again? That makes no sense. But powers need to have well-defined abilities, rules, and expectations, not just back and forth depending on what suits the movie in question. I swear I've never seen a group of characters I've ever wanted to see more jump off of a cliff than this. Well, it's not a cliff, but it is going to guarantee death, so go, 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 go.
No way. This is my dream, and nobody gets hurt in my dreams.
You know, visually speaking, this movie isn't the worst in the world. However, with the music composition, the characters that don't do anything, the plot that goes absolutely nowhere, and the main character that makes you want to claw out your eyes and cut off your ears, makes this less enjoyable, especially when it's sung by Dom DeLuise. This song is absolutely lame. It doesn't further the story, and quite frankly, anything that has Dom DeLuise singing, probably not worth your time anyway. So Stanley thinks it's a good idea to let Gus drive the boat. Yes, give the kid who has emotional issues the ability to create and destroy dreams. As for the second time in a row, he nearly gets everybody killed. Now, to be fair, this is something I would expect a little boy to have dreams about. Pirates, saving treasure, all this kind of stuff. And of course, that takes a lot out of you. So when that dream is finally done, it's time to take a nap.
I hope you get some better thoughts in your head than that. That was more like a nightmare.
At the same time, Gnorga and Mora are also getting ready for bed, when Gnorga wants to double check and make sure Stanley is actually dead.
Did I or didn't I put that wretched little creature out of my misery?
Upset that she didn't finish the job like she wanted, she decides to go to Central Park to destroy him there.
Wind, howl in the dark, and trash the place called Central Park. Wait!
So she eradicates Central Park and leaves it totally barren, as Gus decides to take Rosie home in the nighttime atmosphere, unaware of the alluring threat that is coming their way. What? First of all, I don't care how tough you think you are, a tricycle is not very threatening. So it goes into another chase scene where Gnorga grabs the baby and Gus tries to ask Stanley for help.
Digitation is no match for Gnorga's magic.
Oh, sure! You're just saying that because you're scared to fight her!
So Stanley yet again proves his uselessness as we get the greatest message from the entire movie, and ironically, from Gus.
You know what, Stanley? You'll never have a dream come true. And you know why? Because you're too scared to fight for what you believe in. You're a coward!
Hey, I'm just glad somebody said it. So Gus does the right thing and goes after a way to save his sister. He manages to find her, but not before Gnorga sees him and tries to make an escape. And while they're struggling at the top of their castle wherever they're hiding, Gnorga decides to give him a gift.
You want to act like a troll? Be a troll!
So she turns Gus into a troll. However, that seems to almost immediately backfire, as he also has acquired a black thumb that allows him to petrify things. As we see, it could be the end of Rosie. Hey, I don't blame her. I would want to jump off a cliff too if I was in this movie. Oh yeah, I'm sure she's dead. Doubt it. Let's see. 3, 2, 1.
Rosie?
So Stanley and Gnorga meet up for a final face-off, which includes a thumb war. Yes, you heard me right. The climax of this movie is a thumb war. They seem to escape, but not before Gnorga uses her magical thumb to control Gus's thumb. Yes, it can happen. To turn Stanley into stone. This somehow cancels out all of Stanley's magic and turning everything back to normal, which just so happens to put the kids back home. It's not all bad. Gnorga turns into a rose petal, it happens, and she gets sent back to her home world. In the meantime, the parents come back, and we cut back in the next morning with Gus talking to his dad.
You know, your mother and I, we've thought of a few real fun things we could do today.
Dad, do you think today maybe we could do what I want to do?
So they go to Central Park where they place Stanley somewhere in the middle for a monument of sorts. Gus tries to use his green thumb that he now has, go figure, and bring Stanley back to life. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't seem to work. Or does it?
Stanley? Stanley?
Close my eyes.
So Stanley decides to fix Central Park and take it back to its former glory. Well, that's nice of him to fix all of the Gnorga's trash. Okay, Stanley, that's quite enough, thank you. Dude, Stanley, what are you doing? Was this your plan all along? Did you want the bad ending of Little Shop of Horrors to come to life? Is this really what's going on? And we end on this note.
Live in a world that's bright and shining and absolutely green.
And that was a troll in Central Park. What a piece of shit. If you want a good version of this, may I recommend Disenchantment. Basically the same story, but a lot funnier and with great actors. What is there to say? The songs are awful. They make no sense. The plot is non-existent. It goes nowhere. The villains, boring. They don't do anything of substance. Besides a few little art shots here or there, the movie is a waste of time, and I would recommend you don't. And that's it for me, guys. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like down there. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys want me to review. And hey, if you like this stuff, if we vibe, if you like the kind of thing I talk about, which is animation and music, please consider subscribing and become a part of this great community that we are trying to grow. You can follow me here. You can follow me on TikTok under Jada Fox. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.